Yeah. It's a seven. Make maybe I need to know the yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you just saying, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Oh. Yeah. Oh. Okay.
Yeah, we already did the people. Yeah, we just did the two, okay, thank you.
Hey. Oh, yeah.
Good to see you too.
One. Yeah. We're waiting for one more. I believe Honorable Prairie Nico is on his way. So before we can start, I will go ahead and just allow one of the reports. we can start on one of the reports. When we get a form, we can just go ahead and take a pause on the presentation. And then get back to the presentation. So with that, Trey, who's ready for the report? Or do we only have? We have two reports there. Okay, report A. Introduction of Zing Home brick. Red line, did I say
It's
that?
actually Rigby.
Rigby, okay. Apologize.
Oh,
So with that, I'll go ahead and give you some time right now while we wait for one.
no. Okay.
Start your presentation. Like indicated, if we, once we do receive a form, we'll go ahead and take a pause and then we'll call the meeting to order. And then, when we get back to the report to your item, we'll go ahead and have you continue off where you left off.
That's totally understand. Thank you. sir.
Thank you. Floor is yours.
Okay, unfortunately, I had a computer glitch right before we started, so. Just to introduce myself, my name is Brett Rigby. I am the Vice President of Government Affairs. And Special Projects for Zing Home. Zing Home is a modular home builder. With our headquarters are locally in Salt Lake City, but our factory is located at the Palmer Knowledge Station site. In the Chief. I appreciate the opportunity to come and present with you today. And can you see on computer screen, your computer screen is my presentation? No? In Zoom? Okay. Good. But what is Zing Home all about? Like I said, we're a modular home builder, and we'll go into a lot of detail about the homes themselves, but also more about, well, about housing. This piece that you have here is a briefing paper about Zing Home, contains our history, specs about the homes, and lots of information. I'm not going to cover a lot of that today unless you have questions. I can talk about Zing Home for hours, but I don't have 20 minutes. So what I wanted to do today was to focus on how we can help work with the Navajo on houses. We focus on being a factory built, advanced tech, sustainable, stackable, transportable type of home. And we have really worked hard to make our homes excellent, look good, last a long time in using these technologies. This is kind of, you'll notice from our home, our name Zing, it's from the word Zen, peace, beauty. I know that in Navajo it doesn't translate well, but we're focusing on simple sizing, not downsizing, not upsizing, but somewhere in between. We're bringing together a world-class team of people. Our CEO is Bob Worsley, who's in the upper left-hand corner. His biggest company that you would recognize if you flew on an airplane several years ago, he created style. And so people used to buy stuff right from the plane. That was his company. It was very successful. So what is a Zing Home? A Zing Home, we basically have two models, and we only have two models. We have what is called the Denizen, which is our smaller studio, and the Citizen, which is a larger studio. This picture here is our prototypes, which are located in Mesa, Arizona. We have tours of them regularly. You'll see that the Denizen is on the left and the Citizen is on the right. This Denizen is exactly 1/2 the size of a Citizen. Another feature of our homes is that they can stack. They can go vertical. We can stack up to 5 high without any additional external support. And that's because they're made out of steel. It's a steel frame that we'll see later in the pictures from the factory. This is the floor plan of our studio. You see it's small, but what we do is we use the same space over and over. So your bed can either go up into the ceiling, the wall, and that space becomes a living room or an office. Your denizen sits and has twice the layout. Our factory, as we mentioned, is in Page, Arizona. We believe an emergency operating agreement from the nomination in December of 2021. And we started bringing this building back to life. We reconnected it to power, water, and sewer. And as you can see here from the houses that are being built, they're built with steel cages, steel frame, and they are designed to last anywhere from 50 years. We currently are in production. We've built our prototypes, we've built 12 additional models, and now we're building for a large family facility in there's going to have 90 units on 1/2 acre property. So that's 90 homes and a half units. But one of the things that I was asked to talk about with you all is the concerns with housing on the nation, focusing on veterans and service housing with hospitals and schools. Nationwide, these statistics are the nationwide statistics where we have 6.5 million home shortage, which is huge, and it's exacerbated by the fact that prices have gone up 3 times and the interest rate has gone up twice. In 2012, the Navajo Housing Authority commissioned a study by a gentleman named Vern Swayback, who was based out of Phoenix area. Vern Swayback was one of the last disciples of Frank Lloyd Wright. And he and his team conducted extensive interviews across the nation to find out what the Navajo people wanted and what many of the issues. The pieces that are in brown on the street in this slide deck are from that report. You can see back in 2012, there was a recommendation that there'd be 34,000 new units. That number has not gone down in the last 11 years. If anything, it's gone up. And then this is just more detail for additional understanding of how that would break out and what people we need to do. He identified that the senior and veteran housing was a major concern of the nation. In our conversations with many people, it's obvious the concern people have for the elders, especially those who have served in the military. I was talking to Tony Spiegel, who's the executive director of EED, and he was telling us about his father who died after being 104 years old, and how that life was so precious and important to him, and the honor that he gave to his father. Okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Just stay seated there while we go through the motion of the agenda here. Good morning, everyone. I will be calling the meeting to order here at 10:21 a.m. For the Health, Education, Human Service Committee. So with that, we will move on to the next item, which is roll call. Staff.
Good morning, Chair and members of the Health, Education, Human Services Committee. Roll call for the 24th Navajo Nation Health, Education, Human Services Committee regular meeting, October 9, 2023 at 10 a.m. at the Budget and Finance Conference Room in Winter Rock, Arizona. Helena Nesbegay. Helena Nesbegay. Helena Nesbegay did not answer. Roll call. Vinsar James. Dr. Andy Nez. Jermaine Simonson. Delegate Simonson is excused. George Toe.
I'm here, man.
Curtis Yanito.
Here.
Chair, you have 4 members present, 1 excused, 1 absent, which constitutes a quorum.
Okay, thank you, staff, so much that you have for the roll call with that. The location, we did do invitation this morning, to have a summit at me, and we'll go ahead and see the invitation. As I did, this morning. So with that, we'll move on to the next item, which is announcements. Committee members, do we have any announcements? Committee members, one twice, honorable Dr. Andy Nitz.
Just first and foremost, thank you, Chair, that auto committee members and staff. I just want to say happy National Indigenous Day. But as we know, today and every day that our contributions to society and to the world is pretty immense. And city students and we get there here as well. Continue to engage in our culture and our language and our ways of life. And with the respect of families as well. We celebrate today and every day. So Indigenous.
Honorable George Sullivan.
Thank you, Chair and members. That's the committee also of visitors. I just wanted to ask the community that we pray for our lawyers. They're going to oversee. You know what's going on out there. So, pray for our lawyers. Our military individuals. We have a ship, we all the way up to Disneyland, to be able to see the city, to create. Thank you.
We can have honorable George Sullivan. Then honorable Dr. Nitz. Committee members, are there any other announcements? If there is none, going 2 times, 3 times, none, we'll move on to the next item, item number 2, which is recognized guest and visiting official. Again, good morning, everyone. I'd like to recognize each and every one of you guys, and then we do have students here from now preparatory school. So thank you, each and every one of you, the young ones that are here, are educators who can have for being here. I will not reject the hospital, I think if on something it can have to be with all the Zing Home. Although it's not something then a patient had a issue in the hospital, they of course, for your agency being with all the home. When the agency being with all, yeah, we can not hopefully got a hold of the show. But item number 2, recognizing guests and visiting officials to be each cloud over. There's no other recognizing guests and visiting officials, committee members. I will move on to item number 3, which is review and adopt the agenda. With that, staff.
Chair, members of the Health Education and Human Services Committee. Good morning. You have your proposed agenda for the Health Education and Human Services Committee 25th Annual Council regular meeting October 9th, 2023 at 10 a.m. Presiding the Honorable Vice James, Chairperson, Honorable Kidney Science and Vice Chairperson. Focus the Budget and Finance Conference Room via telecommunications, Winter Rock Information, Arizona. 1, call meeting to order, roll call, indication announcements. 2, recognize guests and visitors. 3, review and adopt the agenda. 4, review and adopt the next one. 5, receiving reports. 8 is a report by the introduction of Zing Home. The topic is the manufacturing residential product line. Presenter is Mr. Brett Rigby, Vice President of Government Affairs and Special Projects for Zing Home. B is an update or topic of the school board apportionment. Representatives of Christian Lowell, Control Attorney with Office of Legislative Counsel, Roy Quincy, Program Manager with the Office of Educational Research and Statistics, Assistant Superintendent Delegated for Navajo Head Start. Matt, so legislative analyst with the Department of Senior Education. 6, old business, none. 7, new business. 8, legislation number 0219-23. B is legislation number 0231-23. C is legislation number 0232-23. D is a conference and travel to the Navajo School Board Association for the 2023 fall conference. State is closing meeting, adjournment, or announcement and adjournment, and the next meeting dates and stuff. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, staff, for reading the agenda into the record. Meeting members, do I have a motion? Motion made, second by Honorable Dr. Yan. Committee members, are there any corrections, deletions, or add-ons to the agenda? Honorable George Ho.
Thank you, Chair. Members, also Lucy's would like to add an item on the next agenda, October 23rd. To invite the health department, the health that's to do a job fair at each agency. Because there's a lot of positions still open, such as the cook, drivers, and also program managers. The men, we meet with the Delta techs to have a job better in each agency. Meeting. Thank you.
Again, just not honorable vote for that. That is a request, so we'll put that on the next agenda. Listen on.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Like to also possibly invite the personnel. Recruitment. Yeah. They're the ones that are responsible for doctors.
Is that okay? Honorable vote? Okay. So you have corrections, add-on, deletions, honorable, anything?
I'm trying to find my legislation number on my ARPA funds for mixed water. That's mostly Anna, for the ARPA legislation. That was on for the lobby, but we didn't have enough meeting for 2 weeks, and so I want to introduce that to this agenda.
Oh,
It's only, I don't know.
All right, okay, thank you.
Not here. Committee members, any others? Add-on, corrections, deletions to the agenda? If there is none, we do have a motion that was made by Honorable Yumito and seconded by Honorable Dr. Nez, with one, request for the next meeting on October 23rd to have Deltex and DPM coordinate to do a job fair at each agency. That's for the next meeting. For the right? Okay, so with that, I will call for a roll call vote. Before I call for a roll call vote, let the record reflect that we do have Honorable Selena Nancy here with us. Okay, so with that, the roll call vote for reviewing about the agenda, motion made by Honorable Yuko, second by Dr. Nez. Honorable Curtis Benito, how do you vote?
In favor.
Honorable Toll? In favor. Honorable Dr. Nez?
Great.
Honorable Nancy Gay? With that, we do have 4 in favor, 1 absent, and chair not voting. With that, we do have an agenda before us. So with that, we'll move on to the next item. Item number 4, which is review and adopt the journal. There is none. Item number 5, receiving report. Report in conjunction with Zing Home, satisfactory residential product line, consider a Greg Ritchie, Vice VP of Government Affairs and Social Policy for Zing Homes. So with that, make the record reflect that we did have Mr. Brent Whitby begin his presentation while we were waiting for form. So with that, we will go ahead and continue and start back off where we have him pause on his presentation. So with that, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I did not track how much time I'd already used. Has that been tracked?
Yeah, we're tracking it. We'll let you know how many before we get to that.
I just, if I could, if I do 5 or 10 minutes.
Fine.
5, okay. Thank you.
Unless you want me to make it 10 minutes.
It depends. If everybody goes to sleep, then I know that, it was bad. And of course. Maybe get back to the presentation. Okay, so you talked about the needs that were in the report by Bruce way back. One of the things, additions with veterans housing was having some workforce housing. And these ideas of smart growth, sustainable future, community connectivity, heritage, family. There are the ideas that home builders should bring the home building inside the home. In addition, they should be durable. So, as we try to understand the problem with the nomination homes, we've run into an issue. And Abraham, the compass will point to true north from where you are standing, but it's got no advice about the swamps and the deserts and the chasms that you go along the way. We're heedless of obstacles and sinking the swamp. What's the use of knowing true north? And our CEO, Bob Worsley, really likes this because as we've talked about it, it's like we're on the north rim of the Grand Canyon. There's lots of money for housing that are available to the nomination. And on the south rim would be people like us. We have homes to provide. And in the middle is the paperwork and the bureaucracy that intimidates so many people from getting home site leases and also for working through the process to find homes. President Boo Nygren has announced that he would like to have 1,000 homes, new homes installed by the end of his first term. And as we talked to him about that and talked to his staff, this pyramid kind of gives a feel about how you can actually get to that number. One of the things that's interesting is that the home site lease program would not get us to 1,000 in 4 years. There's just no way to build that many homes that way. One of the ideas that we have is that, as I mentioned, our multi-family unit area in 29 West, Arizona could be replicated here on the nation in a larger towns. Here in Window Rock, Ship Rock, and throughout the nation. That if we did that 9 times, excuse me, if we did that 5 times, that would provide 450 homes right away. It needs to be used as workforce houses for people who could live in them during the week and then travel back to the other homes that are scattered across the reservation. I've talked to many people who work here in Window Rock who cannot live anywhere close to it, or who work at the casino at Twin Elks and are sleeping in their homes. This type of multi-unit facility would help them in that area. We also have veterans who potential that we know that there's money for veterans for homes, hospitals and schools. There are hospitals that are being built that need additional workforce housing. And it's interesting is that this is an issue not only here on the nomination, but many, many people have come and talked to us who are building hospitals, who are building schools, who don't have facilities for their nurses to live or their teachers to live. And wanting to figure out solutions that they can use, and we would like to help be part of that solution. In June of this year, President Nygren signed our lease for our facility in Lachie at the former Navajo Generating Station. It's a 25-year lease with 2 25-year extensions. So we view this as a 75-year commitment to the Navajo Nation. One of the things that President Nygren required to sign that lease was that we form a joint venture with the Navajo Nation. It's a Navajo entity And we have called, we've jointly decided that it's going to be called HEHSC Home. This HEHSC and Zing kind of have similar meanings in the different languages. Focusing on beauty, calm, and peace. And the HEHSC Home joint venture is designed to help be the conduit for us to provide homes to the nation. We're not a Navajo priority 1, we're not a Navajo priority 2. Because we're not owned by the nation or by Navajo people. But our joint venture partner will be at least the Navajo priority 1. And so we'll be able to work with that entity to help provide homes here on that reservation. Now, one of the interesting things about our boxes is we talked about the idea that we really build 2. We build a studio-sized apartment that's 320 square feet. And we build a 2-bedroom at 640 square feet. All of that can be multi-use, but they're still only relatively small units. And as we've discussed, that's, people might want a 5-bedroom home, or a 3-bedroom. And the renderings that you see here are taking this particular one that we're looking at right now. Those are 2 of the larger units on the left and right, and a small unit at the end with a central plaza, central area where people can gather. That would provide you with 5 bedrooms, 2 baths, and if you wanted, 3 kitchens. Okay, if you don't want the kitchen, that's easily removed. One of the things that we work really hard on doing is building the same unit over and over again. The external cladding can change. It's somewhat like buying a car. When you buy a car, you can change the color, you can change some of the trim, but you don't generally, unless you take it off and do it yourself, you don't get to put a new engine in. You don't get to add new additions. There's an aftermarket for that, and many people do that. But for us, in order to make the same home over and over and over again, we need to focus on this type of operation. But they're Lego blocks. They can be configured. You can stack them. You can use them different ways. So these renderings just show different looks of how you can put together multiple of our units to create a multi-unit, multi-bedroom home on the reservation. So one of the reasons I'm here today is to talk to you and to help about supporting our factory expansion. We want to get to the ability to build 7,000 homes every year. We're currently working to build 1 a day, which would be in the 300 range per year. In order to do that, we have to go from a factory where we're basically assembling it by hand. We've moved beyond the stage of trades and the roof work, really getting to be a factory. But we will be bringing in a 300 to 330,000 square foot facility with robotics that would run 24/7, except for maintenance time. And that would be able to produce a home every 30 minutes. That's our vision, and that's what we're working to. This slide shows the satellite imagery has not updated. It still shows the full NGS site in place. Only thing that is left here are there's 4 buildings, 5 buildings, and everything else right now looks like grass. So SRP has done a great job of taking the buildings out, taking all the steel and concrete out, and planting over it and turning it back into the fields. Our current site is in the lower portion here. We know that the Honorable Helen has come to our site. You would be impressed at how much it has changed since you were there. How much faster things are going, and how much better we are at what we were doing when we were there. Our current lease site is what's in red. That's 8 acres of land. It includes the large warehouse facility where the homes are made, and what SRP called the chemical building, and that's the storage building for parts and pieces for us. When SRP turns over the rest of the facility to the nomination, which they estimate will take place sometime between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Our current lease calls for us to add on the two areas in yellow. The area to the north of us, where you see a small building in the upper corner, that area would become the potential, that's our site with a 300,000 square foot robotic connector. The additional area would be used for storage, because if we're building them that fast, we have to be able to have enough stored, and then they're taken off site. One of the advantages of our homes is they are designed to go on regular semi-loads, a step deck trailers with no flags, no escort cars, just anywhere a semi can go, our homes. That's how they're designed. Our next step here would be to get the large parking areas that were the headquarters and the main area of parking. We really need to, as we expand, having hard pack is great for our piece. And then in the upper right hand corner, you'll see that there's one building not included. That is the former headquarters building. Community colleges area want to use that. We understand for workforce training, and we're totally in support of that. We'd love to have our next batch of workers coming through an apprentice program or training program, and they coming right onto the line. The other building is what's called the maintenance building. That's what we would like to use as our prototyping facility. Right now, as we're building our homes, it's kind of like we're flying the airplane and rebuilding it at the same time. Right to the air. We would like to have a facility where we can work out all the kinks of our production line and then introduce it into the factory itself. And so that we can go much faster without having the hiccups and learning how to build our units. They're always going to get better, so they always have to be to it. And then finally, there is the railroad building that is still intact. I'm going to be touring the facility tomorrow to make sure to understand exactly what's available there. We know that there's some ecotourism that wants to use this area to potentially have train rides go. They're talking about extending track to Monument Valley. That would be great. It's very expensive. Extending track is very expensive, but we're totally in support of that. We would like to use what they're not using. So this is the expansion plans that we're looking at going forward in order for us to help provide homes not only here on the reservation, but throughout the country. We would need to expand. 7,000. If all of our homes came to the reservation after we got up to 7,000, then we would have it would take another 5 years to build enough for all the shortfalls on the organization. So we want to continue to be your partners in finding solutions for the Navajo housing shortage. We want to get your support. That bridge the gap to provide Navajo homes for veterans and workforce and everybody else. And also help get your support for expansion of the factory. And I think I'm here.
Minute and a half.
Any questions for me?
So that complete your presentation. Okay. All right. Motion, committee members. Made a motion, okay, Honorable George Hope, second made by Honorable Curtis D. Committee members, are there any questions pertaining to the presentation? You did indicate that you have a contract in place.
We have a lease.
A lease, okay, a lease, that's what it is. All right, committee members, are there any questions in regards to the presentation? Honorable Hope?
Again, thank you, Jim. Members of HEHSC committee. To our visitors, thank you for your presentation, sir. I need to know the cost of one bedroom. Okay. 2, 3, all the way up. And if this is going to be happening, I guess you have to ask the nomination to approve. So, the other thing that, it bothers me is the way it's designed. Because, when you put our elements and the events, especially, I don't know if they're gonna like it. So even if an elderly wants to have this house, you prefer a whole barn or regular. So have you make those steady? And if this is approved, how soon will you start? And what is all the material coming? I'd like to know that. And we're just going to work on this home sites. We have somebody else. Because we have a hard time getting the home site lease for these areas. So the other one is how is the government going to benefit? That's the only question that I have probably in also. And again, thank you for your presentation. Yes, we're in need of homes. And especially veterans. We think about the need of veterans, how we very support. And we can use build a hospital and we can build school. You gotta have an apartment. So those are some of the areas that we had out here. So we can ask in the contractor right now. My understanding for veterans, the housing, the contractor are stalled. Latest information is on that. So those are some of the questions I have, sir. And again, this house the building will stand the wings we have right here. It looks like all you can have is metal panels. And how thick is the wall? How is the roofing? And then the beams, you put a stove inside. Can you put a power stove inside? So these are some of the areas that especially the thickness of the walls. Sure. That would be, good information, so we can trust. And maybe with the executive committee. So I'm moving this to 30,000 house. But the problem we have is the land all the material is going up. So those are some of the concerning issues that I have to appreciate the lecture. Thank you.
Okay, honorable. Are there any questions? I don't know about today's.
Yeah, thank you for me as well for the presentation. I just have a few questions on the customization as well. Personally, I don't think this is an ideal home for an Navajo family. The only reason I say that is because they took for the one in the two bedroom. I see it as like office space, perhaps. I think it's ideal there, but not necessarily for homes for the specific reason that she had brought up the different geographical regions. I spent some time going out to a lot of our communities in rural areas, and it looks nice on a brochure, but I think within our community here, there are different variations or customizations that I think could be done. And I don't know how far that or if it exists with customizing when it comes to the 1,000 initiative. I think there should be a lot of detail to attach to that That's what I remember, you know, the administration committed. There was a specific count, or should find it for everyone, which now that we see 30, which I don't think. It'll be met because for all reasons, it's trying to be doing a lot of infrastructure. So I just wanted to just question that recommendation on the homes, but thank you for also. That's just with many of our other things that maybe not only the job, but being able to include in the subdivision to increase and address the how that each of us have.
We give honorable Dr. Nance. With that, thank you for the questions, the comments. I will give the floor back to the presenter to respond. Presenter.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'll come back to you. Okay.
Well, all right, so let me just try and make sure I did see. The cost of the smaller unit, the base cost is $90,000. The larger unit is $125,000. The main additions that you would have would be things like solar. You can add solar to them. You can. There's also some other options that you can have, but the base price is $900. That includes all of your appliances, fully finished, ready to go. There is an additional cost to install. That our price is not completely installed. We estimate the install price would be additional $35,000. It depends a lot on how far they get it driven. The estimate on shipping costs would be $8 a mile for the larger amount, $8 a mile. So within the normal nation, that's a relatively small price, because we're not going. They do require a crane to put them off the truck and to put them onto concrete piers. There's multiple ways to attach them to the ground. Depending on the soil, we can go many different ways to make it safe and secure and strict. The design. We are currently talking to Tanner Brigade, who's an architect, to help us with our designs to make them more compatible with the Navajo ethic and that design. We will not be shipping them with steps, but you could add a stove later. With customization, as you could do with any home, you can do with we do not currently have any plan to do something that looks like we do. That's not require an additional factory space. And these we do not currently have anybody on staff who's dedicated to help us solve these. We've been talking to some consultants about that, trying to address those issues. This is bigger than our company. This is an institutional thing that the executive, legislative, and the bureaucracy will have to do it together to help make that process so much better. And then to lower the cost. The estimate that we're getting right now, the other home studies, while the registration fees are minimum, it's $15,000 spots. So that makes it very good. Some specs about them. The walls are we use metal 2x6s, so they're 6 inches. Low back conservative. With the combined exterior and installation, the R value of the walls are 30 and ceiling and floor. So they're very well insulated. It's the exterior is a concrete cladding that's designed. They have a 20-year warranty, but it's designed to last for 50 years. The maintenance on that is simply soap and water once a week. And water. That's the maintenance that we can see. The roof has a slight pitch to it. In the future, we may bring out a pitched roof. It also can handle with the addition of a customization. Basically, it's adding 2 poles You can take your mobile grass snow loader 25 square feet. Per 25 pounds per square foot, up to 65 with the load. I think that addressed a lot of, you know, there's a wide variety of what they call climate zones. that we're building it. Our ultimate goal is to build this box so that it can survive in LA or Park City or Miami. LA for cycling, Park City for snow, Miami for the wind. We've made great progress towards that, but that's it. Did that address what most of your issues are?
No. Probably not a question, not sure.
Now, a lot of the detail about the homes was included in the briefing material. And you can go on our website, we have lots there, or my contact information is with your staff. I would be happy to respond to any of the references. Dr. This, did I address your concerns at all? So the design is the design. If a Navajo individual would like our design on their land, we're working on it, it'll be extremely good. But smaller way, where you can use the same space inside for multiple purposes. Your living room becomes your bedroom, becomes your study, becomes your office, just by moving the furniture. And that type of ethics allows us to make them smaller. But so what we say is our larger unit, which is 640 square foot, acts like a normal 15 square foot house when it's used in division. So I'd be happy to talk about that further, about the customization piece, but right now, simply because of scale and cost, if we customize it too much, it becomes a snowflake, what we call a snowflake. Every snowflake is different, and we can't run to the factory with any speed at all. And the cost will double the two.
So that is for your response.
Yes.
Thank you. With that, I know that we do have honorable Curtis Finito with the question between comments. Before I move on to honorable Finito, I just wanted to know how familiar you are regarding the amalgamation of manufacturing housing act. We want to know how familiar you are.
Manufacturing act. I am not familiar.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Honorable Curtis Finito.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the floor. I was going to ask if these houses are free. And I was going to ask about the hidden costs. I mean, financially, I know these houses are equipped with electronic. And how many units have you sold to the Navajo citizens so far? I want to ask about also ask about the financially, how do you guys how much do you put down or so forth? Payment.
Currently, honorable you.
Yeah.
Okay. Committee members, are there any other questions, follow-up questions? Honorable Helena Manfred.
Good morning, everyone, and sorry. I was over at the insurance office. Anyways, and then thank you for your report. And I know I'm for Zing Homes and on the grounds for the GE and at that whole NGS site. And I know that that's where asking for more space there, and I see that on the map here too. And I thank you for employing most of, the Navajos that are there. Most, 95% of their employees are native. And I appreciate that, and I know that, I did a lot of my work. I traveled after routing. That's my career for 2.5 years. And we had a lot of them on site. And I went in there and you're well visited. You know, that means a lot of IDs for your home. So, yeah, and I was giving the information that you guys got the idea of a label. The young guy there was kind of label, we got the idea of how to put all these kinds of labels. So, but as now it's really hard. We play with things band. That's how we form our homes. You know, that's it is. So, but you know, that much I consider that big play. And I do agree with my colleagues here that's really not customized for our neighborhoods. And maybe whoever that's designing for so the 1,000 home initiative, maybe they can design it to where maybe we can see it again. And I appreciate that for the emails too, and they know that there's a revenues generation too. So and then other ones 2 or 3 on my board. So
Yeah, not currently in this. Yet there are areas that we would like to see.
because there's other people that want to come in for the same thing, so let's see what happens. But for the week, I think for in this week, you know, that you have in that week. That's what I'm going to give you my support, but I want to see what I do this up here. And the railroad track. You said that, you know, were one of the things on the railroad track. I live across, I live to that railroad track runs through my neighborhood. So I didn't see part of that. I want my grazing land back. And our railways and stuff, I was along that railroad, and the majority of the railroad runs through the and I do. People that are running this railroad are also what they can run it on the first time. This will leave that stuff. That's what we had a really installation. Thank you for
Thank you, Honorable George Pope.
Thank you again, Chair. When us native people, when we build houses, and especially 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms, what happens, all the relatives do. That's the way we are. Buy vehicle, everybody. Yeah, but we. So how are you going to accommodate that? You can have the market. I guess the cost of it is really my concern is we're going to build 4 bedroom. Some of these NHA houses, I know one individual pays close to $900 a month. The whole total cost of that 4 bedrooms, $290,000. That NHA, then you have to qualify for the. I guess when you build that, or this house, are we going to they will pay NHA? Are you going to pay rent? Are you just going to give it to the family? That's the question. So the other question I have is, I'd like to see one. Built. And I would look. But right now, I cannot support until I see it. How it's constructed. Yeah. So the other one is, the bathroom. The sewer line, the water lines, is that the company responsible? Or is it private? And so we'll say you're gonna build one for Burgess and once electric hooked up and also water line to be installed. And all that. Is that kicked out or is that individually responsible for that? That's the only question I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Kat. Committee members, are there any other comments, questions? There is none. I will go ahead and invite the board back over to hear response from the president.
Thank you. Excellent questions. I appreciate your care, your concern, and your breadth. Zing Home is a box provider. We're not an installer. We're ultimately not the owner of the box. So if NHA bought our homes, we'll still use the NHA product example. Then if we and they were renting, the NHA would be handling it. So whatever relationship to the ultimate buyer would be, we will not be, once the box is delivered and paid for by whatever program or methodologies, we're there to provide a warranty work, but we're not the owner of the. Does that make sense? Would they be free? It depends on what program you use. They're not free for us. We can't reduce them. Because if we did, we go out of business. But whatever program is in place could make them available for free using ARPA money or any other to help put these in place. So that we'd be happy. That's one of the purposes of the joint venture is to work together and figure out ways that we can finance the homes that would be at relative low cost or no cost here on the nation. There are different programs that would allow people to borrow money to get mortgages for the programs. We have different banks that are talking to us about this type of thing. I used to run credit unions, so I understand this world a little bit. It's very difficult right now with the current eminent domain laws that are in place for us to build for people to get mortgages from a regular bank here on the nation. That's something that we're working on helping fix. It's not something that we would do ultimately as our company. We don't plan to get a finance company. Like I said, we plan on building this. Just an update on the employee list in the briefing paper, but our company has 110 employees. 101 of them are out in the factory in Lachine, and 91 of them are. So more 90% than 95. But we are the novel hiring methods actively followed. We've got procedures in place, and we know that there's not already the production for us. So that's one day we'll be ready. It's how is it constructed? So we talked about the I-beams. These are 6-inch red steel beams. You build a frame. That's how, and then it's steel stud on the inside. The bathrooms are on the large one are 88 compatible bathroom type 1, and on the small one it's 88 type 2. So they're built to work well with people who have disabilities who have a little difficulty moving around. I think I covered most of the area in my notes.
Thank you. So with that, I believe that let's complete the questions and comments from the committee. And again, we do have a motion on the floor. In regard to the presentation here. So with that, we do have a motion made by Honorable George Schultz and then second by Honorable Curtis Iannico. To what the report that was provided to us. So with that, committee members, I will go ahead and move on to the roll call vote. That does complete the presentation and we heard the response back. Thank you very much for providing us the information, and providing hard copies to us in regards to your report and then streamlining the attendance view as well. So appreciate that and appreciate your time for coming out and providing the information, the presentation to the health education committee. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
So with that, I will call for a roll call vote. Honorable Curtis Benito.
In favor.
Honorable Dr. Ned. Honorable Elena Nasdegate.
I will agree.
Honorable Toth, we're voting to accept the report. With that, we do have 4 in favor. 1 absent. And the chair not voting. And with that, motion carries and you are hereby excused from thank you and safe travels. Thank you. With that, we will move forward to get to the next item, which is B update. Conflict is board appointment. Presenter is Christine Rowe, Board Attorney, Office of the Legislative Council, Roy Tracy, Program Manager, Office of Education and Resource. Now let's start. Right, so legislative analyst, part of the net education. With that, we do have our presenters here. I will go ahead to the floor. Third, Tracy, those the procedures of the presentation. And so with that, I will go ahead and give him the time and then also to our principal attorney, Ms. Lowe as well, as our legislative council. But before I give you the floor, I also want to recognize that we do have one of our colleagues here presented with us, present with us this morning, Honorable Danny Simpson. Thank you very much for being here. I think it's join you in with that. So make sure that on the record. So with that, Mr. Tracy, on the floor is yours.
Even czyli to tylko myślę do płyna jeszcze do the Department of Education, I look over the program Office of Education Research and Statistics, the program manager and statistician. I'm also the delegated assistant superintendent for the Neville Extra program. Chair, thank you again. I'm here on behalf of the superintendent of schools and I'm here to provide the update on the school apportionment study for the 2024 season. Every 4 years, this apportionment is conducted, in which we inventory the school by enrollment count. And that includes their board positions or available positions for the next cycle of reduction. With the 66 bureau operated and bureau funded schools on that. So on September 28th, for clarity purposes, for the request on September 38th, this committee, the Health Education and Human Services Committee, HEHSC, of the 25th Model Nation Council met with the Bureau of the Education Neville area, and there was a request made from BIE for the apportionment study. And so Emily Arviso, the associate directive for the Bureau responded in that we would provide a enrollment report for HEHSC. And such on October 3rd and October 4th or October 4th, Thursday, we received both reports for the Tri-League Control School and the Bureau of Operating Schools. We are currently in receipt of 33 Bureau Operating Schools and 35 Tri-League Control School data sets. Currently at this time, as of this morning, Monday, the Office of Educational Research and Statistics is now cleaning the data. We are validating the data as well. If there are any issues, we should be completed. If there aren't any issues, we should be completed with this data cleaning set or process by this Friday, October 13th. We will then hand the data over to our legislative analysts and with the superintendent, they will apply the data for the Fund 6 framework that was approved. And that report should be ready by October 21st, I believe, on Friday. Thus, we should have a finalized portion data report for you on Monday, October 23rd. If there are no issues, we have to clean the data first to find out if there's anything wrong with that data. We did notice immediately in some of these data sets for individual schools, data is missing. And they're from the Tri-League Control Schools. Thus, that means that the Tri-League Control Schools are responsible for uploading their data into the NACE system. And as we previously heard from the Bureau, that they are not responsible for Tri-League Control Schools. So that might, we haven't determined what amount, how much that might be, as we're just now cleaning the deal. So that's about the only red flag that we see right now. Stand for questions, if there's any from the community chair.
Does that complete your presentation?
Yes.
Okay, well, and so with that, committee members, do I have a motion? Honorable Curtis Benito. Second, Honorable Dr. Engineers. Committee members, are there any questions in regard to the updated report regarding the school board appointment? Honorable George Stoll.
Thank you, Chair, members. That's two questions. How is the travel control scheme responding to this? We can submit their own plans. And the other question is, who is responsible then? BIE saying that control is the one responsible for this information. Clean up on something. I think it's. And now next year. Those people serve. Thank you.
Honorable Dr. Engineers.
Thank you, Chair. My question is, if there is anyone within the Department of Education that also captures some of the current experiences from the board. I know for myself, when I'm out there, I think my travel and note what the board members, technically are reporting on the status of whether the current what the plan is working or not working. And I get both sides, favorable and those that are not favorable. Some have valid concerns and then some are invalidly perceived, but that's just something that I think is important for myself as a member of our HEHSC, but also within education is understanding some of the experiences and challenges. For example, I know one of the challenges with the current status was hindering new schools And I know with that, the supporting school, they're up for the building, but the top of our representative up there to see that the current reapportionment plan is also hindering that, or delaying that construction or the, so those types of things. If there's anyone who go, we can, take it upon himself informally or formally, capture some of that experience from current, board members.
Thank you, Honorable Dr. Engineer. Community members, are there any other questions, comments? With that, just to have that analogy, the understanding is the way I understand the report regarding the hybridly school. Jody is the one that oversees that. Correct. And so it is Jody's responsibility to track that information. And if you're here before the Health Education Human Service Committee and you're indicating that the information is not there, then as Jody, you guys are failing to provide that information. Who is responsible to take on the task of getting that information gathered? To me, I understand it to where you should already have it because the school is under Jody. And there should be no reason of Jody to indicate that we don't have any track records. We don't have any data. And so I just need that clarification. I know it has been a big continued discussion. We've heard reports indicating from board members, from schools that have indicated, no, we don't want to be under Jody. And with what you're providing, it seems like there is a reason why they don't want to be under Jody. And so I think that accountability needs to be addressed under the Department of Education for those tribal operated schools that you guys oversee at Jody. So if I'm analyzing this in the incorrect way, please let me know. But if it's correct, then just let me know that I'm on the right track. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that as well. So, honorable, I hope.
You can, I'm not sure. This time you came before you let the acting superintendent and also the members. We informed you to work with the school board. Me, like, you haven't reached out to the school board organization. We need to work with them and see what the recommendations. So when we go out there, people run the bus and say, hey, things like this, they don't share information. They haven't come to our meeting. So those are some of the issues that we want to. So I'd like to know if you going out there to meet with them and what our plan is trying to promote your program. I think that's lacking right now. We need to share information. Just a committee. You have to stand up for this nation and take care of this. Not stupid. You probably haven't done that. I don't know. So it seems like we always have this problem. So sharing this information because stakeholders in there depends. I see if I shouldn't we're in this office here. I just wanted to know if you have talked to organization or student, see what the recommendations are. So, John. We keep saying that we can sit down and have coffee. But I was right now, it's being up in the air. And I'm part of it, and we need to settle this. As long as you go out there, communicate with them. They will understand, so, so, we can communicate that message, to people, you acting superintendent, maybe, while we're fighting against each other, we shouldn't be. The information you receive should go down to the school also, we can't keep it up. Put it on newspaper, put it on whatever, as long as you working with your school board will be okay. So right now, they come up to us and say, hey, those and this. They're not sharing information. So, there is information to them. It is, Chair, thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Paul. With that, I'd like to give some time back to you, Mr. Fraser, for months to federal education and service committee with their comments and questions.
Thank you, Chair, and members of the Health, Education, Human Service Committee. Thank you for your concerns and also bringing to light some of the issues that have been brought up in the past. The Department of Education, in my opinion, has worked with school boards in the past. It could be on training, as this morning we have the school board training happening right now. We have a number of schools, school board members attending. Last week, Monday, we also had one session, but only school board staff showed up. This school board training is for board members. It's training under the 40-hour mandate requirement training that they couldn't do the school board position. It also talks about the governance of authority for resolutions of this committee and the nomination NABI for grant skill reauthorization. We also, in particular in my office of Educational Research and Statistics, as well as Office of the School Accountability, School Improvement, Office of Standards, Curriculum Assessment, Development, and a few others have worked with schools, providing what we call office hours. We pick particular days in which we are online and meet with school board and their team on what reauthorization might require, and updating their data sets as well. The pandemic, most of the technical assistance provided by Adobe has been online. Previously, my staff, ODSI, CAD, and such, with the respective acronyms, have met in the field with schools as well. So there has been some effort in this process of providing training and technical assistance. In addition, anything that comes up that requires public hearings, we have met with schools, we have met in 5 agencies, we have published these items, and so that's been my experience working with the school boards. As for the plan, if you can clarify if the school board will have a plan for the response of the apportionment, if that's what it is. We have yet to remain as to see where that will go, as we are just receiving the data. This, we're starting to clean this movement. For example, if we try to control school, and one of them I know is Rock Point. They did not report anything into the NACE system. That NACE system is the Native American Student Information System. That is governed and controlled by the Bureau of Indian Education. Okay. And so if there are any other schools within the tribal schools around, then we would reach out to that school and ask if they mess their data report into the system. And they have a timeline on their side with the Bureau of VIE. Department of Hidden Education does not govern or control the NACES reporting process. That includes Native Star, and I think Native Star is using a new version of that. Because we respect tribally controlled schools' autonomy. And so this issue has been highlighted within the data sharing agreement process that we are currently in negotiation with the Bureau of Investigation. So we can get access into that data sharing agreement and have access to NACES and such. And it technically was broken out during a meeting with BIE that they were clearly stating that they had no control over the tribal control school. Previously, they had control. So why they are having that position now that they are not in control of the tribal control school data set? NACES, Navajo Nation is in charge of 66 schools, whether they're operated or funded. Okay. It'd be nice if Dodie can have access or have control of NACES. Say it like that. That way we can have governance control of data reporting, deadlines and due dates and such. But to date, when we requested this data from the Bureau of Indian Education, that whole area, they clearly stated that they will only be responsible for reporting the Bureau operating schools. Of that, we received 30 completion. We also asked if they could include the tribal control schools, and they clearly stated that's not their responsibility. A Dodie responsibility that governance. Yeah. But if you look at Title 10, we try to break this down technically. We look at local control, we look at those type of legalities of how much weight does Dodie have to govern tribal control schools. We believe, Dodie believe that, with the state education agency movement to become an SEA to gain some governance over the 56 schools, and this is a longer dialogue that goes into the school accountability plans. I think that would be beneficial for Dodie to have the student information system, which is currently being developed, and it is called the Navajo Education Information System. And so the data sharing agreement would connect NACES and NEIS, so that the two systems talk and we can share data. BIE in the past, as you have heard, that the BIE SE meeting with Dodie on Thursdays, September 28th. FERPA, there's an issue. BII, personal identifiable information, was an issue. And so Dodie is working on that at this point to determine. Previously, the data sharing agreement was signed by BIE. And so today, it's a renewal process. So there are things such as data assurance, there's a training and such, training for staff. So that's what we're trying to work at. And so, because there's missing data with tribal control schools, we should be able to reach out to the schools. One of our statistical research analysts have a great relationship with the data teams of the school districts or at the schools, tribal control schools, PCS grants. So I don't see why that shouldn't be a problem if we can capture that data. Again, we don't govern that piece of that data responsibility. We do make requests to schools, and they try to be control schools been courteous enough to provide, academic data such as math and English. Information of such for reauthorization. As for capturing experiences from school board in the field on apportionment, we can look at what has happened in the past and make that determination. I think part of those experiences are coming from the apportionment study. For example, in the 2016 apportionment study that went rolled out without any issues at that time back in 2016. In 2020, that issue became an issue with school boards and the process of apportionment because there were different plans that were presented. And if we look at some records, we can see that Plan 6 was one of the formulated plans that the framework that currently the school boards are operating under, which is regionalizing these school boards. And so hence that is my crossover into when we clean this data, we will put that data report into the current approved, which this committee approved and Navi approved. And we can we'll provide that report to you. So that's about the most experiences that we capture in the field is when we're having the public hearings regarding the apportionment. So is the apportionment working or not working? I cannot answer that at this time. We can look at the study because that apportionment study dictates by enrollment the number of school board positions that exists within each of these schools. They're both BIE operated and tribal control schools. So does that exist? The formula right now is for 250 students, up to 250 students. That has a designation of 3 board members. Up to 251 to 400 students, that designation calls for four board members. Anything beyond 400 plus in student enrollment requires 5 board members. I believe this formula came from the previous HEHSC committee back in 2012, somewhere in that period. And we will look into the Crystal boarding school and the effect of the apportionment on that. As for the we're looking at Doty's responsibility. I think the technical assistance is there. And Doty can work better with the tribally controlled schools and the Bureau operated schools, including the BIE. Again, when we go back to NACIS and its reporting governance, I would suggest that be a part of the data sharing team. If that part of the governance can be given to Doty, then yes, I believe Doty will have more teeth for the apportionment study, that we can ensure that all tribally controlled schools are meeting their data reporting deadlines. That's the response to the questions.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the response. With that, I will go back to follow-up questions. Honorable George Holt.
All this directive that was sent from the Doty to the schools. Directive requests, training. I would like to ask for a copy of that in writing by October 23, make sure that we cooperating with the schools on time we sent the letter and that request. The trainings are and have a copy we can forward to us on October 23rd. So we can share that information with the school. See who is, having these issues. That will explain, to me, how many times the building is trying to work with the schools. It even each to the chair in that reports. I don't think we haven't received anything from those that. How many times they were sending requests and that training thoughts and my wish to share. Thank you.
Again, thank you, Honorable Don Wolf, so there is a directive from Honorable Cook. We are able to meet that pretty serious deadline of concentration, the directive that's coming from Honorable Cook.
I believe we can. I believe we can make this deadline.
Okay. All right. Mr. Now.
Mr. Chair, members of the Health Education and Human Services Committee. The data that comes from Doty, as I understand, is strictly student counts. And but is there a voter data also involved? Because that's where the election of the school board members, like not just something like the congressional districts and state, districts, and their own reporting, according to voter data. But this one is for student data. And so I think that if they're only going by student data to elect school board members, then what is has anybody studied the success of the school board, the effect of student, on student success? Because there should be some correlation if we're investing, in school board leadership. There should be some data out there to indicate, the worthiness of these school boards and investing in, what difference are they making on student success? It's like as well. Thank you for
Thank you, Mr. Now.
I'm all for studying as much data as we can. Again, I think the Department of Education has always played a role in monitoring compliance for the past since 2005 and the approval of the Navajo Education Sovereignty Act. And hence the reason is one of the high level discussions we've had is the data sharing agreement with the zero areas. I think it's very important at this time, in my personal and professional opinion, is that Doty does not have enough data. It does not have access to student achievement data. For example, here's my professional opinion. I think with the apportionment study and all these other issues that are coming up, nobody's talking about student proficiencies, student academic proficiency. Everybody seems to be worried about the uniform stipend things and things like that. There's no discussion on student achievement. And if we can have access to math, science, English, do some deep dive, strand analysis and stuff, we can look at the functions of administrators, their training, validity of training programs and material usage. This includes the net content standards. Yeah. And we can also do a lot of studies in that sense, not only quantitative, but qualitative studies. And so I would love to have Doty have access to student data and it includes PII, personal identifiable information, which is tightly controlled by levels of security clearance background checks. They're called level 1. And I believe in Doty, I believe it's only 3 staff within my office have that authority at level 1 or level 2, they're call sensitive positions. But even within the 3, we control the data that if there's a request for a data report, such as what you should be receiving is the math and English performance of our students, including science absentees and graduation rate and such. A lot of that information is disaggregated and it excludes PII, personal identifiable information. And so if we can have access to the data again, then we can correlate, we can do a qualitative study and correlate. And by evaluating, for example, what they do and some of the decisions that are laid out, do they correlate with student success? Budgeting, for example, is another area that we can look at and determine if there's success in decision making. Using data as a data decision making is one of the sessions that my office controls, and we present and have presented to schools in the past 5-6 years. And we are available with the research aspects, with the data teams. We are available. We have provided technical assistance to schools that request. We also do some semi-annual training along with the Office of the Net Accountability, ODAC, as they are responsible for the authorization. And so we provide those technical assistance. And so we'd like to have access to that data and make that type of correlation, a study of that nature. I would encourage that. But again, that might be a requirement of the data sharing agreement with the Bureau of Indian Education in our area. Sure.
Thank you. Thank you again for the response. Again, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. The word analyze. If Dodie does not have any data information, how are you generating training topics? How are you providing that technical support if you have no data for the schools that you guys oversee? The information that you're giving is not correlating. And I'm trying to trigger this whole thing that you're saying to us. So that data information is you're driving to your tools to provide that technical assistance. So if you don't have no data information, then Dodie and the school, I'm assuming, has just been floating there in the air for the past several years. And so how are you creating these technical systems is what I'm trying to analyze and to get an understanding of your presentation. And again, it all goes back to the accountability of your responsibility as students. And so I just trying to figure this whole presentation that you're providing us. You don't have no data information. You're saying that you don't have access to the other data sources for you to move forward. I think it's very critical that you really need to start informing the HEHSC committee how you're providing your technical assistance. Because right now you're just saying you have no data. So you're saying that you don't have the information or ability to go out there and get the information is what I'm understanding at this point. And I know you're probably short staffed. And you keep relying back on VIE. And you're getting the information from trying to get the information from VIE. But what is it that you have as Dodie? What have you guys collected this far? And so that's where I'm trying to figure this whole thing out. The whole presentation that you're providing. Honorable Lena Nancy, and then I'll move over to Honorable Document.
I have a question, with us talking about this. are you working with the BOSA? Because they're the ones that they're the ones that are giving training on the other end too. You guys probably need to work together, you know, to get the partner seeking for. So you guys probably need to work with the BOSA too. So come further along the way, tries to come together and work together. So, that way we can all find this out. And we already met the BIE, and we already heard what BIE said, so. That is, what I'm question is for us to the whole thing.
Yeah, thank you for that. So we'll talk 10 days.
Thank you for that. So just a few things, that was also my follow-up question with the both, working on seeking the data needed, especially if it's at the local level where the LEAs are not sharing or probably are not aware of some of the data that needs to be reported. And then being able to capture that specifically from either the school principal or whoever's tracking the data and the information needed. And then working with all agents. So that's my first question. The second one is how far has the department come from our recent meeting with BIE on the data? Because I know many of the schools don't report to NACES. A lot of it is years behind, if not months behind, whereas other LEAs are great. They are able to produce real-time data and track that information and I know with the BIE access to NACES is not 100% and if anything, you only have access to data that you can just track and so I think that also needs to be included in NACES so that the PII and working with the blog or some statement that I'm sure Jolene is also understanding that the PII being able to be behind the profile and then having that understanding involved and then the next question I know is on reauthorization. I know that many of our LEAs also report data there, and I know that that was expression of HEHSC. Then do we also need to amend such that reauthorization policy where we kind of include some of that information? And for myself, I know when we technically role is to amend that and if that's something that needs to be included, then we start to gather some of that information needed so that the reauthorization process and everything that the department is seeking is all what you guys are happening from the school level and what is needed at the administrative level.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, Madam Chair. All of the questions to Tracy, really asking for more of responsibility. That's what you're saying. I believe this body said to propose legislation. How far are you at? Is that in place? So you have more control, or you guys have better? We'd like to see that, and all you do is when you report, you see the concerning issue. If we have, we can part. But we have not seen anything. That's what we are trying to ask for. I don't know if we have that in place or not. It is what they're thinking.
Thank you with that. Mr. President, I'll give you some time to respond.
Okay, thank you, Chair and members of the committee. Thank you for your questions, Chair James. In response to your questions, don't we, with OERS, we always had a good relationship with the Child Control Schools. Here's an ironic of information. Since the pandemic, even prior to that, the expiration of that data sharing agreement 2018-2019. Doty, my office has continuously requested academic performance data in the area of math and English. And the schools have always put them into that to us. We also capture enrollment information. Again, if you recall, during the HEHSC meeting with the EIE, there are only 5, 6, maybe 7 variables that we're allowed access to within the system. And it's read only. Okay. And so Doty has had access to the critical piece of information for reauthorization. That is math and ELA performance. And so the tribal control tools have presented that to us. And today, BIE, we have a 4- and 5-year study of the part performance of the Bureau, BIE, tribal control tools. We have a trend analysis for that. The pandemic hit for about a year or 2. There was no assessment being done nationally. As previous Secretary of Education for the United States Department of Education had a waiver. And so the BIE came back and they were no longer using Beat Part, for example. They were using the BIE unique assessment. And so we've been capturing that data now for, this is our first year, last year's data, so we've been capturing it. Now, when we get into the responsibility aspects of things, we do want responsibility. We have proposed Title 10 amendments, which is also answering on this question. We have a listing, for example, Office of Education Research and Statistics. There are no research or data language within the Title 10. So we have made those amendments. We've identified the subsection areas that call for the types of data. We've identified that. We've also written to amend or add language. That's a long process. That has to be vetted by Department of Justice, DOJ. And so other areas of program operations within OSCAD, standards, curriculum, assessment development, as well as accountability, the municipal improvement, or have worked on amendments. So it's a leaky process. I know there were Title 10 amendments made back in 2017, 2018, which this committee passed. I think that was more on government structure level. And so Doty, in my opinion, Doty has that information available. They're completed in certain degrees in the different offices. We work with DeBosba in some aspects. I think that relationship can always be improved. We do attend the things, we provided trainings. At one point, DeBosba was reporting to the board and still is a part of the board dialogue and improving the relationship and the processes. My understanding for the DeBosba is they're governing over school boards, not the school boards are responsible for school operations and school data and reporting, but the DeBosba play the role of the school board governance. That's my understanding of the old Title 11 NIMSBA. That's the old National School Board Association. That's how I understand that. But I don't see any reason why we can't work with DeBosba here further. And I think that's been shared with you by the acting superintendent. And in addition, I'm all for improving that data sharing agreement to include NACES into the agreement and some of the statutory and amending also Title 10 in the area of tribal control schools reporting into an amalgamation system. and providing a deeper level of report, academic report about student proficiency and student performance. And are these schools really serving our students? Are these schools really out there to improve the level of academic proficiency? Providing a different viewpoint of what high road of success could be in our national culture and how they can contribute to society. But we have all the data reports from higher ed about how our students, even from the public schools, are not performing. And they spend the majority of the first year, 2 years in remedial education. And so I'm all for, as well as the acting superintendent and the Navajo Nation School Board, is having a discussion about what student success is and what it should be like. So, Chair, I hope that it's just some question.
Okay, thank you. Okay, with the many questions and comments that we made up to this point, I think it's due for 2 separate work sessions. And I'd like to make that request, and we could have you work with our legal counsel and the slow schedule those 2 work sessions. Jody and the Boza and Essie. I think we need some clarifications on a lot of these are not, we're gonna go back and forth throughout this whole meeting. I think it's really needed to have those 2 separate work sessions in place. Instead of rushing, trying to figure things out. So I'd like to make that request, and then I will just work through an email, and then we'll start thinking about dates when through emails. So what other committee mentioned committee of education and service committee. So if that we're following agreeable with that, I will go ahead and call for a roll call vote to accept the report with a later date with 2 separate work sessions. There is a motion that was made by Honorable Curtis Benito, second by Honorable Dr. Dan. There is no other questions, comments, committee members. I'd like to ask for a roll call vote. Honorable Benito, in favor. Honorable Pope.
Chair, I'd like to say, we agree with the recommendation. Work session also from concern that we able to recommendations. Thank you. I have a good for everything.
Honorable Dr. Nate. Honorable Alina Nancy. So with that, we do have 4 in favor. It's up to the 4, 1 absent, and chair not voting. So with that, again, thank you, Mr. Tracy, for providing us with updated information, and we'll look forward to meeting with you guys again to a work session.
Provide a written response as well to.
Okay.
Yeah, and no concern for their training.
Oh.
Thank you, Chair, and members of the committee. Yeah.
Okay. All right, then. You are hereby excused. You're gonna go have lunch somewhere, and I think the lunch. So, okay, look, yeah, thank you. Thank you for joining us. I think this might be it's not Edgewater. And then also Mr. Matt, so thank you for being here with us as well. Part of the education. With that, moving on to item number 6, old business. There is none. Moving on to item 7, there is new business. We do have a legislation number 0219-23. We do have this consider the sponsor, Delegate Sherilyn Yazzie. President, what's that? With that, I'd like to give over the floor to Ms. Our staff to read the legislation to the record, which is legislation number 0219-23.
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the Health Education Human Services Committee, you have your proposed standing committee resolution. Okay. We have your proposed guidance resolution from the City Council for year 2025. Thank you for Delegate Carolyn Yazzie as sponsor. Tracking number is 0211-23. An action related to the law and order committee and the health education and resources committee approving amendments to the navigation child support guidelines and child support schedule. The legislation has gone through and considered and approved by the Law and Order Committee, and it has moved forward to the Health Education and Resources Committee, which is the last committee and has final authority for this legislation. The legislation has been electronically read into record, and you have Exhibit A, which is the Navigation Child Support Guidelines, and you have I'm sorry. We have three, yes. Which is the review from the Department of Justice and indicates a sufficient review. Do you have the after thereafter, the transfer letter from the Office of Legislative Counsel? And you have your 5-day comment, which was posted on December 5th, 2023, and completed its 5-day comment period on September 10th, 2023. No comments were received. The Law and Order Committee has their committee report, and it indicates a Zoom pass with one amendment, and indicates on Exhibit A on page 6 to remove the basic child support schedule, basic child support obligation amounts, reflecting a 5% increase, and insert new basic child support schedule, basic child support obligation amounts, reflecting a 10% increase. And the consideration by the Law and Order Committee was on September 25th, 2022, with a vote of 203. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, thank you in regards to reading legislation number 0219 -23. So with that, again, we do have our sponsor here, Delegate Chairman Yazzie, here before us. Committee members, and leave this up to you at this point. If there is questions, we can provide 20 minutes to the sponsor to provide us the legislation, or I know there was a discussion to also have a tailored motion to go into tailored motion to go into a work session later date. That is allowable, as well as the legislation as Health Education Human Service Committee as being the final authority. So you guys are obligated to do that as well. So I leave this up to you as committee members. Honorable Paul.
Chair, fellow members in the committee, I'd like to table this to have a work session. Later date, so we can receive this. My package today, just come to look over. I'd like to have a work session with the sponsor and
Again, at the honorable Paul, committee members, I will honor that motion go into the table legislation number 0219-23 for a work session. Committee members, do I have a second? Second, made by Honorable Helena Neds Brigade. Yeah. Okay.
Within how many days?
Within how many days?
within 30 days.
Within 30 days. Okay, so within 30 days, so with that, we do have a motion to table legislation 0219-23 subject for 30 days to do a work session. And then come back and after the work session, bring the legislation back on the agenda for the Health Education and Human Service Committee. And a second was made by Honorable Helena Neds Brigade. with the table in motion, there is no other questions, comments. Debate, being a table in motion. So with that, I will call, if you like to have questions and so forth, and this is what you guys both red and green. It's up to you guys as committee members. So I leave that up to you guys as I chair the Health Education Human Service Committee. And I believe it's okay with the sponsor as well, Delegate Shelley Yagi. Is that okay with you to table do a work session within the next 30 days as well?
Yes. the engineers
Okay.
want to do that.
Okay, and then the agents, for the record, the agent is willing to also do that as well with the committee. So with that, I will call for roll call vote for tabling legislation number 0219-23 and to do a work session within the next 30 days.
The department will do the work section or with our office.
As the agent, are you able to sponsor the work session?
Also, voluntary, and it takes a lot to get all of that in place.
It's just the facility, that's about it.
So, we're better with the program.
But you have the conference room and the facility, right?
We can accommodate that, yes.
I don't think we're asking you to put Martin Ridge and state or anything like that, so don't worry about all. No tomahawk or anything. Leave it at that. Okay, so with that, we will work with you, accommodate the facility for the work session. But again, we'll work closely with our staff here, so to get all of that scheduled out. All right, then, so that's all good. So with that, motion is made by Honorable George Pope, and then second by Honorable Leader Nancy Gay. Roll call vote for table of legislation number 0219-23. Honorable Unica. Red. Honorable George Pope. Green. Honorable Martinez. Honorable Helena Nancy Gay.
Great.
With that, we do have 3 in favor, 1 opposed, 1 absent, and chair not voting. 3-1-1-1. Motion to table for the next 30 days for the work session has been adopted. Okay, with that, we will move forward to the next item, legislation number 0231-23. Again, I will give the floor over to our staff to read legislation number 0231-23 into record.
Chair, members of the Health Education Human Services Committee, we have your proposed nomination council resolution for the families and council for 2023 introduced by Delegate Andy North from your sponsors. Track number is 0231-23. An action related to the Health Education Human Services Committee, the Budget and Finance Committee, and the Navigation Committee, and the Navigation Council. Approving $3 million from the CSC fund to Navajo Preparatory School for Indian student housing and building, approving the related expenditure plan. The legislation does move on to the Budget and Finance Committee, and then on to the Navigation Committee and the Navigation Council as final authority. We have your Exhibit B, which is the application, Exhibit A, which is the Navajo Nation grant application that is attached with the supporting documentation for the purpose of the expenditure. And also you have the implementation, the project implementation plan as well. And also the exhibit, all the way to Exhibit D is the resolution of the Board of Trustees for the Navajo Preparatory School. And they are in support of the endeavor indicated, and also the exhibit B, which is attached to that, is the ECMY 33-99. That's the documentation, and also we have several resolutions supporting that exhibit D. You have the transmittal letter from the Office of Legislative Counsel, also the dated post of the for public comment starting on October 3rd, 2023, and what was there were no supporting documents. I believe that my copy has a meeting plan, but I believe that this is on another subject. Okay. Also, you have, okay, you do have public comments that were given, that were ending October 9th, which is today. So you have 50 supporting comments that were received, and no comments that were opposing, and comments or recommendations they weren't received as well. So you have all 50 comments that are supplemented by of the legislation of the document.
Again, thank you for that. We're reading legislation number 0331-22 into record. Excuse me, we do have the author here, and then also Dr. Cindy Jones is agent is here as well. So with that, committee members, again, there's two ways to do it. You can, if there's questions, we'll provide 20 minutes to the sponsors to provide the legislation to us. If there is no questions, I can change this legislation, and I can just call for a motion in a second, and then go straight into vote. Are there any questions pertaining to legislation number 0231-23? Committee members? Going once. Any questions on legislation number 0231-23? Going twice. 3 times. There's no question. The motion made by Honorable George Pope, and then second by Honorable Curtis Benito. So with that, we will go ahead and go straight to a vote for legislation number 0231-23. Motion made by Honorable George Pope, second by Honorable Curtis Benito. Honorable Benito, how do you vote? Green. Honorable Pope? Green, sir. Honorable Dr. Nance? Green. Honorable Helena Nancy Gay?
I agree.
With that, we do have 4 in favor, 1 absent, and chair not voting. With that, legislation number 0231-23 is hereby approved and adopted with a motion in a second. And it will move on to the next committee, which is budget and finance. Congratulations, agents here. We're going to give a thank you for being with us up to this far, and then also you are hereby excused from the Health Education and Service Committee. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. With that, moving on to item number C, legislation number 0232-23. Again, we do have sponsor delegate Nathan Nota, co-sponsor delegate Priscilla Hurley, and delegate Danny Simpson. So with that, we do have the sponsor here, co-sponsor, excuse me, for legislation number 0232-23. With that, staff, can you please read that into record?
Proposed Navajo Nation Council Resolution 25th Navajo Nation Council first year 2023 introduced the current sponsor Honorable Delegate Nathan Noton, tracking number 0233-23, an action relating to the Health, Education, and Human Services Committee, the Budget and the Finance Committee, the Navajo Committee, and the Navajo Nation Council approving $2,130,804 from the HEHSC Fund for the Coyote Canyon Rehabilitation Center Incorporated for a new modular building and infrastructure, approving the related expenditure plan, which is now with the Health, Education, and Human Services Committee, moving forward to the Budget and Finance Committee. We have Exhibit A, the National Nation Council legislative requesting for funding for a modular facility at Brim Hall, New Mexico, including the infrastructure and parking lot. Exhibit B, the description that was prepared previous survey information, 791-726-05. Exhibit C, the order of closure of worksite hazardous with the Coyote Canyon Rehabilitation Center. Exhibit D, the total fund requested and amount of $2,130,803.98, which is around $2,130,805. This also included with the first report. Legislation number 0232-23, Honorable Nathan Noton, title of the action of the Health, Education, and Human Services Committee. Comments supporting 1, Yolanda Avery. Comments opposing, none. Any comments recommendation, none. That's in the legislation 0232-23. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you again for reading legislation number 0232-23 into the record. Committee members, we do have that read into the record. Again, there's 2 ways that we could do this. If you guys have committee members, if there is any questions, I will provide the time over to the sponsor to provide legislation number 0232-23. Committee members, are there any questions? Committee members, are there any questions? Are there any questions? To legislation number 0232-23. If there is no questions, I will call for a motion. Committee member, motion made by Honorable George, second made by Honorable Anito. With that, there is no questions. So we will go straight to vote. So with that, Honorable Curtis Anito, how do you vote? Green. Honorable George Hope, green, sir. Honorable Alina Nancy,
Great.
Honorable Dr. Andy Nan. Honorable Dr. Andy Nan. Honorable Dr. Andy Nan. So with that, we do have 3 in favor, 2 absent, and chair not voting. So with that, motion does carry for approval and adoption of the legislation number 0232-23. Congratulations, you are hereby agreed from the Health, Education, and Human Services Committee and so thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Really can't, thank you.
So, moving on to item D, conference and travel. We have a School Board Association 2023 Fall Conference. School accountability, October 26th to the 27th, 2023 at Conero Elite Conference Center. Resort. Note the registration. Note the registration fee of $500 per person has been waived for the SCD committee members. So with that, committee members, we need a motion to approve this travel to Conero. If committee members will be attending the Navajo School Board Association 2023 Fall Conference at Conero. With that, committee members, do I have a motion? Motion made by Honorable George Toll and second made by Honorable Alina Nancy Gay. Committee members, are there any questions pertaining to this conference and then also to the registration fee of $500 per person that has been waived for the Health, Education, and Human Service Committee members? If there is no questions, if there is no comments, committee members, going twice, there's no questions, comment, I will call for a roll call vote. Honorable Curtis Nito, how do you vote?
In favor.
Honorable George Hope,
In favor, sir.
Honorable Helena Nancy Gay, Honorable Dr. Andy Ness. Honorable Dr. Ness. Honorable Dr. Ness. With that, we do have 3 in favor, 2 absent, and chair not voting. Is hereby adopted and approved for the conference and travel to the Napa School Board Association 2023 Fall Conference, October 26, 27 at Point Arrows, where the 500 per person registration fee has been waiting for the HEHSC committee members. With that, let the record reflect that we do have one of our colleagues here, Honorable Herman Daniel, here with us, and Honorable Casey Johnson, here present with us as well. So thank you very much, colleagues, for joining and attending our Health Education and Human Service committee meeting. Again, although we do have our LDAs here as well, legislative district assistant, again, for being here. So make the record reflect that we do have LDA here with us. Moving on to item 8, which is for the meeting announcements, committee members. Honorable Toe.
Thank you, Chair. On the email, and check out the one of us. So, is on? Oh, okay, I think it's, yeah.
Okay, Honorable Yanito.
We're having a meeting tomorrow, now we'll leave the commission at Dental Arizona. So I'll be attending that tomorrow. That'll be the action item. I believe, she get Daniels to be over there, chief.
Are there any, okay, thank you for that announcements. Committee members, are there any other announcements? Committee members, if there is none, next meeting and travel is the Navajo Nation Council Fall Session is October 16th through the 20th, 2023, and then also how the Education and Human Service Committee regular meeting will be Monday, October 23rd. We haven't come up with a makeup date for October 16th. Due to our regular fall conference session.
We have that, you see. Yeah.
So 8/8, we will. We figure out a date to put something make up for the October 16th. Honorable Yanita.
I have a Bears Ears meeting on the 16th and 20th, I mean, 20th, 29, 22 at TBC.
Yeah, it's not the fall session.
Right.
You think about me, speaking, not me.
So I'll be there like on weekend, we have meetings. And so I'm kind of recommending that we should have a meeting down there the next day on a Monday. 23rd at TBC.
No, that's the.
The 23rd is going to be here,
Yeah.
October 23rd. You mean that Monday, you're talking about that Monday, October 23rd?
Yeah.
We'll be here. So we'll be here, and then also the other 3 work sessions will also be here. Yeah, let me see when you're up. So that's coming up as well, so this is FYI. On that.
Your first responsibilities, community, and then I'm gonna see council session.
Yes.
So. Travel, between council. So.
Okay, so we need to find a date in regards to October 13th, make that date. Maybe you can email us. Email.
Okay, according to your.
conference that
I don't need it. The 22nd. We had some of the pockets still.
That whole week is, but that 24th, 27th, or February.
Unless you want to try for October 20th, the last day of the fall council session. Should we try that? That Friday to make it up? You go into Friday and it's 1 o'clock.
Okay, at 1.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know what, you guys busy this Friday? Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th, you guys available to? This coming Friday? Are we able to have a health education human service meeting? I'm just gonna be nice, Jeff. It's not you guys. No, it's your secretary. Huh?
I'm meeting with the. Very good.
The 13th, October 13th?
Yeah.
Make an update for October 13th. Are you available to me on October 13th? You coming Friday?
No, we don't sit with that. It's really eating the face.
Oh.
yes, the team from the
Yeah.
the
So should we go back to the 20th then?
I'll be up.
October 20th at 1 p.m.
Yes, everybody should be.
But then that's their fall council session too.
37, I mean,
Look at this call.
That means it's coming Thursday? You mean at 8 o'clock? 7. 8.
We have us. Didn't get 7 on.
How's everybody's schedule for October 12th at 8 a.m. for a regular HEHSC meeting?
Navajo Hopi land? Isn't that Navajo Hopi land?
Hey, people, do we have now HEHSC plan committee? The 12th?
No.
No, but I'm sorry. Yeah, we had our meeting last Thursday. So the 12th, 8 a.m. Hopefully budget finance conference will be available.
I'll check it soon.
Okay. All right, so that will be the makeup day for October 16th, regular, solid education service meeting. Okay, so that's tentative. Okay, makeup day schedule Thursday, October 12th at 8 a.m. Here at Budget and Finance Conference Room, if not available, staff will contact us on the meeting space. All right, so with that, there is no other announcement or any other discussion regarding next meeting.
Yes, MMDR is meeting this meeting. We can ask ELOS, I mean, not OS, but LLC, or, yeah. Or do.
Law and order. Utility conference room. Yeah. By 10.
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Morning.
All right, then, staff, just get back with us on when where we will be having. But for sure, October 12th, 8 a.m. Will be the makeup for October 16th. So with that, committee members, if there's no other questions, I will go ahead and call for a motion to adjourn here at 12:36 p.m. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion made by Honorable George Ho. Do I have a second? Second made by Honorable Curtis Nico. To adjourn here at 12:36 p.m. Any questions? One twice, three times. How do you vote, Honorable Curtis Nico?
In favor.
Honorable Pope?
Green.
Honorable Dr. Ned? Honorable Helena Ned? With that, we're gonna have 4 in favor, 1 absent, and Chair not voting. With that, we are hereby adjourned at 12:36 p.m. Yeah.